Hey folks, I'm Jax, and I'm excited to run through the changes that are coming to Frost Death Knight as part of the 9.15 changes. Alright, from a Mythic Plus perspective, there's a few more things to be hopeful for around our Frost specialization right here. Really, what starts to stand out right away is like, hey, well, ultimately, a couple things. Breath of Sindragosa is back as part of like our core ability. This is absolutely where we want to be with this build, and I'll pull it up now if you're so interested. Before we touch on the build itself, we're actually going to talk through some of the changes that Frost observed here through 9.15. So both the Abomination Limb and Frost Scythe are no longer target capped and deal full damage up to 5 targets, and then it starts to reduce beyond 5. Sacrificial Pact is no longer target capped and now deals reduced damage beyond 8 targets, which is great news. Shackle the Unworthy, that's actually been nerfed by 10%, but now has a 100% chance to spread to nearby enemies when triggered instead of 50%. So that's a Covenant ability for Kyrian Death Knights. There's not a ton of them out there yet, but now that we can swap between Covenants in 9.15, that may change. Withering Ground, which is a Night Fae conduit, had its effectiveness increased by 50%, and Impenetrable Gloom, which is a Venthyr conduit, had its damage effect increased by 50%. So let's talk through what's going on here. We're hearing lots about buffs to Kyrian abilities, and then Night Fae and Venthyr conduits. Blizz is trying to knock down this almost 70% distribution of Necrolord, and it's actually just through buffing the other Covenants as opposed to like knocking Necrolord down. So that's alright, I can live with that as an approach. Pretty solid overall. Now in terms of Mythic Plus build, really it's a very passive build for Frost Death Knight, and regardless if you're going with a two-hander or two single-handers, like whatever your preference is there, this is kind of what stands out to me. Tier 1, you're going to go with Cold Heart. Tier 2, Runic Attunation. I always struggle with that. Tier 3, you've got some choices here. It really comes down to whatever your priority is. That additional range of Death Grip usually isn't how I try to prioritize. I do like Asphyxiate because I like having a bit of an additional stun, especially anytime I'm in Mythic Plus, but we've got a few elements that we can work through here. We certainly have a slow with Chains of Ice, and we've got Blinding Sleet as well. So there's a couple different approaches here that we can go with. Tier 4, Avalanche is by far the go-to. Basically, right up until Frost Scythe got uncapped, and there's a part of me that's kind of considering incorporating more Frost Scythe, and hopefully that gets Frost Death Knight a little bit more love in terms of just progressing what we're trying to achieve in Mythic Plus, which is damaging as many targets as possible. And so this is definitely a class that's limited to single target damage, so we can bring Frost Scythe back, bring back Breath to Sindragosa. Now we're starting to talk pretty positively between that and Remorseless Winter around consistent damage against our targets. Tier 5, we want to go with Permafrost, Wrathwalk, or Death Pact. I like the Wrathwalk personally, but on the Alliance side, I actually went with the Worgen. So I already have Death's Advance, Dark Flight, and then this would have been Wraithwalk. I'll never need 3 speeds at any given point in time, so I'm going with Permafrost just to take advantage of the equal absorb shield that we pick up. Alternatively, having kind of an oh shoot panic button to bring back 50% health is pretty material as well, so either option works pretty comfortably. Tier 6, Gathering Storm is the go-to here. And hey, you'll always have Remorseless Winter running, hopefully just launch it right off cooldown as soon as you get there. Tier 7, right across the board, Breath of Sindragosa is going to continue to be the priority build, and that's fine by me. It's absolutely one of my favorite abilities in the game. So, excited to see where that lines up. Yeah, there's not many situations where you wouldn't credibly use Breath of Sindragosa, so really happy with where it's at. In terms of which covenant is best, Venthyr can be really good for Mythic Plus, so don't rule it out yet. You get a lot of runic power on multiple targets with Swarming Mist. That's the Venthyr ability, and it can help extend your Breath of Sindragosa. It's not the best for single target, but it'll help you burn down more with AoE. As far as what Necrolord does, Necrolord probably ticks the most boxes, both for rating and Mythic Plus. Basically allowing you to grip multiple targets with Abomination Limb. It's really useful, so definitely consider that. You want to go with Plague, Deviser, Merilith if you are going the Necrolord route, or if you're going Venthyr, you're going with Najata, the Mistblade. Now, from a legendary perspective, the best one that you can get after out there is Biting Cold. It basically gives you a guaranteed rhyme proct as soon as you get within 3 targets around you most of the time. So it can be put on your head or your waist. Put it on your waist just to line up with your domination sockets, and you will absolutely crush the competition. So overall, I was really hoping that our Demon Hunters, kind of the Demon Hunter experience we had with Legion, or the Death Knight experience we had way back with Wrath of the Lich King, was kind of going to be repeated here with Shadowlands, with it being themed around death, and that Death Knights would have a bigger role to play. But I guess there's still a little bit more to be seen on terms of how this plays out, but let me know your thoughts in the comments. Are we going to see more Death Knights take a center stage in in the whole Shadowlands expansion before we wrap it up, or what's coming next? Alright folks, thanks for checking out the vid. Let me know in the comments what you want to see more of, if you have any questions, and I'll try to get back to you right away. Talk to y'all soon. Later.